Glenn, you're one of the directors of a film called VHS. Now tell me about your chapter in it.
My chapter is called Tuesday the 17th, and if that's not hint enough, it's sort of an homage to Friday the 13th, and I was asked to kind of submit a slasher segment to the movies, so I went back to the slasher movies that I loved, which were basically all from the 80s. They're a bit more light-hearted than anything too snuff reel or too exploitative, so the brief I set out for myself was to try and marry those worlds, keep some levity, keep some humour, and tap into some of the stereotypes that you find in those movies, but pump all of that into a found footage piece.
And it's very different from your last film, isn't it? Which was a kind of traditional narrative, very structured, storyboarded, and everything. How did you find this kind of freedom? And there was even kind of improv, and some of the actors went off with their own camera, didn't they?
Yeah, it's. My last feature was a period horror comedy about grave robbers, so it was a cool project to be a part of, because I had to let go of every way I've worked previously, and it took me a while. Initially we'd be on set and things were maybe a little bit more structured, and we followed the script probably too much. But by the end of the project, we'd thrown out the script. The first scene in my segment is the kids in the car. I literally gave them the camera and the car keys and told them to go for a spin, and I didn't see that footage until we were in the edit room. It was control in the way that the characters were down and the story was down, but then to remove myself from the situation was very, very inspiring. I'd love to work that way again.
Were there any guidelines in place? Because obviously there's 5 or 6 directors working on this, haven't they? Did they say you have to do this or you can't do that?
The only guideline I really had from Brad Miska and Roxanne, the producers, was keep the gore practical. They weren't keen on CG blood or anything like that. And then other than that, I think the producers played it just right. They all hinted at the guidance we needed, and I think it's to their credit that the piece worked so well, because it could have been a mess. You go to 6 different directors for 6 different segments, and they all complement each other. It's a nice collection. I think it's actually a really cool anthology.
And as you said, Tuesday the 17th is a slasher movie now, but it wasn't actually started out as a slasher film, did it? You had something else in mind. What was that?
Well, I originally started off with I originally just threw some different ideas out at them. One of them was a piece about strange children with ESP and so on, and the guys were like, listen, can you maybe give us something in the slasher genre? Could you attempt something like that for us? And so it was new to me, and again I just went to the slasher films that I liked, which are less hardcore than some of the new pieces. I think the fear in doing a slasher piece in found footage in 2012 is that you could get really grim, really grisly, and I don't have the Human Centipede 2 in me. I wanted to just have some fun with it, and that's what we did.
And finally, can we look forward to that ESP movie from you next, maybe?
I don't know. I think it's a cool idea. We'll see. I'm working on a bunch of other things right now, but it's certainly on the shelf.
Excellent. It's lovely to speak to you, Glenn. Thanks.
Thanks.